Welcome back, YouTube. So in this video, we're going to do an update. As we last talked about, there were a couple things that we were looking for to happen here in the macros and also tying into the price action here that what we're seeing on the charts. The biggest thing I said was that it's going to be a big catalyst around the election. And also, it's going to play a big part in who wins that election. It's going to determine a few things as far as for capital coming into the market, not exclusively to Dogecoin, but to the market in general. That determines how much capital comes into the market, from who, and when that capital comes into the market. And as you guys, as I'm sure everyone knows, Trump did end up winning the election, and the markets are pretty excited about it. You can see that across the board, whether that be crypto, the stock market, pretty much everything has been going parabolic here. We've been seeing a lot of capital come into the market. I just read that Elon's net worth is actually over 300 billion now for the first time in like 3 years. So if you're doing some math, that means that Elon made somewhere between like 40 and 60 billion in the last like 72 hours, right? So it's been it's I will say, well, I'll say within like the last week or two, right? Because it's kind of been trending that way as the polls and stuff was coming out. So, but overall, yeah, this has been a really great movement here for not only for Dogecoin but for the market here. Everyone's pretty excited. So if you take a look here at my previous video, you'll see I gave a couple scenarios for what can happen here with price action. Just to kind of give you an idea to kind of retest where we were initially. That's what these blue lines are. So the blue lines that you're seeing are the ones that I drew. It's not indicative of price action or price action that's actually happened. So we haven't necessarily maxed out fib or anything like that. Those are just examples that I drew. So I'm going to actually take these off. But you'll see that if you compare that to the previous video, you'll see how spot on that was. So what we're looking at here is the opportunity to retest and get a gauge as far as we're like on the strength of the movement. And then also we can open up that conversation about higher highs. And also we have to couple that with the fact that we have a much stronger indicator coming, or really loading, compared to the one that initially gave us the signal for the run that we're on now. So what we're looking at here, this yellow line is the 14-day. For those of you that may be new, this red line is the 200-day. We had a golden cross here back on the 24th. And this has been pretty much like the movement that we've seen thus far. So pretty much even going here, we've seen price action use the 14-day as support. You can see evidence of this on the 25th through the 28th and the 3rd through the 5th of November, right? So even when we retest and we got some rejections here where we didn't have enough strength to technically move up, we grab support off of the 14-day. So that is really significant here as far as for the strength of this movement. And it means that overall, we are not technically closing below our 2-day average. I mean, our 2-week average. That's what the 14-day is. So here we have a much stronger indicator. So this orange line is the 72-day, right? And this is the 200-day here. So you can see that gap here has narrowed a lot. And that is a much, much stronger indicator than a 14 and a 200, right? A 72 is about 2.5 months compared to about 2 weeks, right? So that is a very bullish signal here for the price action. Something I'm going to be looking forward to. And I will say this again, because I mentioned this here, and it did happen sooner rather than later, but I wanted to kind of point this out. Excuse me. Just because we get the golden cross here, or within, like, let's say we get the golden cross on Monday, that doesn't necessarily mean that the price action is going to go parabolic on Monday, but it is a signal, right? It could be Tuesday, Wednesday, it could be the following week, but it is a signal of the current trend. So I do want to point that out, because I know you'll see a lot of videos and people will start pumping out stuff and giving out these numbers and stuff, the crazy numbers. So I want to kind of give you an idea of how these signals actually work. It's not it doesn't start like a countdown or anything like that. It's an idea of a strength of the signal until that signal reverses or we have something that changes the data that we're seeing. So right now, all signs are pointing up. So we don't have any data here to kind of give us an idea If we have a cool off period, that's perfectly normal. I mean, look at this. You consider this like a run. Even if we had a few days where we trended sideways or something like that, it's not the end of the world. After a run, these assets typically take a break. There's going to be profit taking. There's going to be shorts. There's going to be a lot of different things kind of bundled in there that can kind of cause what appears to be like a little bit of like stagnation or something like that. But it's very normal here. You have a leg, you have a break, you have another leg, you have a break. It'll do this all the way until we get into peak bull run. So the biggest thing that we're going to look for is to retest here at around this 22 cent mark. And I really want to wait until we get there before we do some catalysts here for really chopping down the 20s, because then we can open that up and look at some previous pools of liquidity before we take a look. And I think that that's going to be really indicative to get an idea of what like kind of price points and pockets of liquidity and things like that we're going to be able to kind of gauge going through the 20s. So I do believe, however, that's why I'm zooming out now, I do believe that if once we get this 72 to 200, that does open up that window for us to see around 30 cents and above. So I do believe that is an extremely bullish signal. We're going to see going forward. The biggest thing is going to see, we're going to get an idea of is how this is going to hold up in this zone and whether or not we're going to do some retest relatively soon. Because we could have this cool off period where we consolidate in this zone, which is obviously still an upward trend. We'll still get the cross here, but that's definitely, basically what I'm saying is it'll cool off the aggression, but we can still be in this zone and do something similar to what Bitcoin has done all year, which is remain in this top level of fib and not necessarily correct, but trend sideways until we get that, until we get to peak bull run. Now, technically speaking, I know that typically starts around like December, and then we'll go through March. And then I know there's a conversation around a super cycle and all that. I'll save that for a separate video, but that is a possibility of something that we can see going forward. And I want to take a look here at Bitcoin as well, because this is obviously going to be an indicator to kind of gauge things going forward. Bitcoin obviously has set a new all-time high and is now broke out of the previous fib zone, which is absolutely phenomenal. And this is what we're seeing here, right? This is a similar pattern to what we were talking about. We have the 14 crossing the 200 for the for Bitcoin here, and then what happened here a couple of days ago? We got the 72 crossing the 200, and now we're getting parabolic action, and literally not necessarily off the chain, but definitely off the charts. And this is something similar than what I would expect. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be immediate, but this is something similar than I would expect for Dogecoin once we start confirming some of these stronger signals on these higher time frames. So I expect to see something very similar with Dogecoin here. So overall, when it comes down to legs, people have to understand this here. It's not necessarily all about the parabolic action and just having the God candles and going straight up, because that's actually how you enter into a danger zone. So what you want, this is for Doge and for Bitcoin. What you want is, I'm going to click off of this and zoom up. What you want is an opportunity here to kind of build out a leg, go up. It doesn't have to be that long, but it's going to make a point here. And you do another example. You go up, and literally what I call it here on the channel is you're doing stairs, right? And you go up. You guys get the point, right? Hold on. Whatever. But you guys get the point, right? So this is, I'm going to cancel that out. But you guys get the point. So this is technically what you want to do, just a repeat of this process here, and do kind of like the stairway, because once you start taking the escalator or the rocket ship is what you're going to see a lot of. That's kind of how you enter the danger zone, and you'll have a bunch of people coming in who are expecting immediate gratification. They're expecting things to kind of go up unnecessarily, almost like the same day. You have people coming in who are simply just, you have more flippers in there than you have long-term holders, and things get extremely volatile. Price action becomes unreliable. It becomes difficult to chart because it's just going up. And that's how you get that mass panic and that huge sell-off. So just going to keep that in mind. What we're looking for is to build out these floors layer by layer as we get this price action as far as for like liquidity coming into the market, as they're excited about the expansion of crypto and the future of crypto. You're going to see that price action, and that's what we're looking for. Same thing with Doge. Whoa. Excuse me. Same thing with Doge, right? That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the opportunity here to kind of build out a leg and go up, build out a leg and go up, and then we'll do some retest here. And I do think that we'll have a pocket around, like I'll do some index as far as for price targets. I'll do a separate video possibly in the morning about that, and we'll break down the 20 to 30 cent range. And I'll say probably like 20 to 35 cents. We'll break that down and go over like the pockets of liquidity and things like that. But I do believe us getting this crosshair 72 to 200, that's going to open that up. But it's going to keep that in mind here. We're looking to build stairs and not necessarily the rocket ship. This is great. But then what we need here is kind of like what's happening now is go ahead and start building that support, because you don't want, I know some of you, this may be like your first bull cycle. And let's say, for example, Doge went from 9 cents to 20 cents, right? And let's say it only took a couple of days to get there. Now we got one big God candle going to 20 cents. So for the people that got in at 9 cents or anywhere in some of these lower levels, it's going to be a great time, right? Immediate fast money is always great. But when it comes time to taking profit, or some bad news comes out, or just anything in the macros that can be questionable for the asset, where is the support? You do not want that massive gap in between your current price action and your last level of support, because I promise you, you will go there to grab liquidity, and it'll be ugly. So you want to, as the price action goes up, like what we're seeing here, you want to build out some support. Then you want to climb some more, and you want to build out some support. So just kind of keep that in mind going forward. Look for these things here for those of you that are looking to get into charting, or maybe new. This may be your first bull cycle, or maybe you missed it the first time, and now you see the potential of this current bull cycle. Just kind of keep that in mind going forward, because that's going to be one of the things to kind of look for. So again, tune in for my next video. We're going to take a look. We're going to break down the 20 to 35 cent range and see what those pockets of those pools of liquidity look like, and kind of get an idea of some potential support and resistance areas, and go over like those price targets. If you found value in this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Again, let me know your comments, your thoughts in the comment section. Share, like, and I will see you guys in the next video.